All right, understanding the book of Numbers. When we left the book of Exodus, Moses was leading the people of Israel towards the promised land. They left the slavery of Egypt and looked forward to the freedom of the land God had promised their forefathers. The book of Numbers picks up where the book of Exodus leaves off, and that's where the people camped at Mount Sinai. That was the place where God gave them the Ten Commandments. Now, the book of Numbers is called Numbers because there are two census taken. One in the beginning and one at the end of the book. And the first census happens when they're about to break camp there at Mount Sinai. So, they get the census and they're ready to go north. Unfortunately, on the way, they complain and they whine. They whine about traveling in the wilderness and not having any water in the wilderness, and how the food was much better in Egypt, and how their poor kids were going to die in the wilderness. You know, they made it sound like the slavery of Egypt was better than what they were experiencing. Really, they made it sound like there was no God. They made it sound like there's no God providing manna every morning, or quail in the evening, or water coming from rocks. But Moses was a compassionate soul, and he asked God to forgive the people. So, after tossing some lightning bolts at the outer edges of the camp to remind the people that he was there, God let them continue north on their journey. So now they've gone north, and just before they enter into the land, they send 12 spies to go in and do what spies do best. And took 40 days to gather information, and they came back with a report. Unfortunately, it wasn't a good report, and 10 out of the 12 were afraid of the mean, evil people in the land. Well, the people of Israel then became afraid, and they acted again like there was no God. No God looking out for them, no God fulfilling His promises. So, God decided to give them what they wanted. They didn't want to go north and invade the land, so He let them turn around and go south. And they were going to wander around and around and around and around in the wilderness. An 11-day trip was turning into a 40-year journey. Except this time it was not going to be the children who were going to die, like the parents said. It was the parents who were going to die in the wilderness. So, south they went, back into the wilderness, wandering and complaining and dying, and wandering and disobeying and dying, and disobeying and dying, until the only ones left were Moses, his brother Aaron the high priest, and the two spies, of course, who obeyed God, and that younger generation who grew up in the wilderness. Well, now the people, this new generation, they are ready. Except there's only two more things that God needs them to do, and that's He wants Moses to take one last census, and then He needs to hand over the mantle of leadership to Joshua, one of the good spies. And with that, the people are staged and ready to enter in and invade the land of mean, evil people. Well, how about you? Is God offering you chance after chance, looking for you to finally take Him seriously, finally act like there is a God? In what is He calling you to be obedient? You may not have to invade a land of mean, evil people, but there's something He wants you to trust Him with. What might that be?